Morning, friends. It's good to have an audience, a fresh audience in the morning, because last 3 or 4 occasions on CVF, I've been moderating sessions which have been post-lunch, sleepy sessions. So it's good to moderate a fresh session. And in the next 15 minutes, 50 minutes, we'll see what this industry has gone through in the last few decades and what holds for the future. I was supposed to welcome the dignitaries on the dais, but I think that thing has already been done. So let me tell you, in the last 30 years, this industry has changed so much, but the maximum change has happened in the last 10 years. Everything has been changing so fast, and even before we realized where we are, the next change is already there. Be it regulations, vehicles, infra, structure of transport companies, but most important change that I have seen is the mindset of people. That has changed faster than anything else, because if you have to adapt to these above changes, you have to make sure your thought is aligned there. So I can tell you with a lot of confidence that the next 5 to 10 years are going to be full of surprises and full of shocks also, because this government cannot see transporters working happily in peace. They like to keep throwing surprises at us. So to cover this large part of this industry, we have a distinguished and diverse panel. We have a lady transporter here as well. And when we talk of changes of the future, one thing I can assure you is that in the next 5 to 10 years, this room will have a lot more women transporters. More than, I think I'm seeing 3 or 4 now, but we'll have much more. Introduction to the guests has already been done, but I'll quickly tell you a little bit about our guest. Starting with Reema. Reema comes from a family transport background. Looks can be very deceptive, but let me tell you, Reema is a borderline veteran of this trade. She has seen a lot of changes, and today we'll be tapping into her experience of what changes she has seen and what can we expect in the future. Ramandeep from Okara Roadways is a pure veteran. His company is decades old, and he's probably come from a time when you had zero tech to where we are. Am I right, Raman? I mean, you've been on a time when there was zero tech, and being into parcel movement, that was one of the toughest challenges. Today, Okara Roadways is into express, into parcel, warehousing, and of course, full truckloads. Siddharth Kirtane, who heads EV business at Propel, has seen diesel trucks for a long time, and now he's selling EVs. So Siddharth will surely give us an opinion on how the future of EV trucks is going to be. Then, of course, we have Kaushik, who has been into service and with, moving from diesel to EV. Kaushik will throw light on how that shift is going to happen, how the training in the back-end dealership works, right from training of staff. Then you have inventories. And of course, I was just talking to Kaushik, and the first question came to mind was, Kaushik, what all do you do? And he said so much, I've forgotten half of it. So I don't know how he keeps pace. He's into dealerships, he's into spare parts, he's into used trucks, he's into finance. So one-stop shop, I think, for everything. And friends, when we run a transport business of this scale, we need to have our eyes on the business. I still remember first time I joined this industry about 32 years back. एंड पहली बार मैं जब किसी ट्रांसपोर्ट कंपनी में गया हु हैड अबाउट 50 ट्रक्स, मैं उनसे पूछा आपके ट्रक्स कहाँ पर है, एंड ही गिव मी वेरी वेग आंसर, होंगे कहीं पे. आई सेड इतनी बड़ी कंट्री, आपके 50 ट्रक, आपको पता नहीं है कहाँ हैं? बोला कहीं ना कहीं तो होंगे. एंड आई वॉज सरप्राइज. मैं जब वापस जाके उसका मैथ्स किया, उस वक्त ट्रक की प्राइस कुछ 5 लाख के आसपास होती थी, 5-6 लाख के आसपास. सो 50 ट्रक्स इंटू 5 lakhs, एक ट्रक में 2-2.5 लाख का भी माल पकड़ लो, इट इज़ अबाउट $1 crore प्लस का असेट आपका रोड पे है, एंड यू डोंट नो वेयर इट इज़. फॉरगेट अबाउट वो चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है. टुडे विद अ ट्रक कॉस्टिंग 50 लाख प्लस, एंड हर एक ट्रक में विद द वैल्यू ऑफ गुड्स गोइंग अप, you're looking at least 1 crore of goods in a truck. Fleet sizes have grown to 500 trucks to 1,000 trucks. You cannot run a business without knowing where your truck is and what your truck is doing. And Light Metrics helps with that, to make sure you know where your truck is, how it is operating, whether your truck is safe or not. So we have a wonderful panel where we have fleet owners, we have OEM, we have dealers, and of course we have telematics. So let's get this discussion rolling. And एक हमारे यहाँ पे बड़ा concept है ladies first. So that's the reason Reema was first up on stage. But going forward, ये courtesy खत्म हो रही है because this room will have lot of women and we cannot keep extending this courtesy forever. So let me get in Siddharth first. Since you're talking future of fleets, and everybody's talking future is electric vehicles. Siddharth, how relevant in this? And let's jump to the first question, the most important question first. Is EV trucks a viable option?
In the end, am I audible? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Girish, first of all, thank you for the fantastic introduction that you gave for all of us. You yourself are an icon in this industry and really value adding to all of us, so to say. But before I give the answer, with your permission, if I can introduce my company, because many people in the room may not know Propel. So we are actually an Indian company, Coimbatore-based family-run company. It's a part of 62-year group called AV Group. We have multiple businesses in foundry, machining shop. We also have construction equipments, and Propel as a brand is quite popular when it comes to construction, basically crushing and screening equipments. We are the market leaders today in that segment. We introduced the EV fleets, particularly heavy-duty trucks, starting with the construction mining segment, and now we are foraying into the long-haul segment also. Today, we can proudly say that we are market leader even in the mining segment with EV trucks. So that's brief about our company, and thanks for inviting Rohit for this distinguished panel. Coming to your question, Girish, there's no doubt that the cost economics in terms of the operating cost for EVs is phenomenally good. I mean, if you're spending, let's say, for example, 1,000 rupees on diesel today, whatever that time frame is, whether it's a day or whether it's a month, you would not spend more than 350 on electric. So there's no doubt about it. So there's 65 rupees that you save on the energy. And we all know that in the transport cost, almost 55% of the cost is fuel. So when you're saving 65% on that 55% component, it's a significant saving. So viability of EVs is absolutely no question. The challenge that industry is facing right now is the initial investment, which is at least 2x to 4x. So when you talk in terms of, let's say, mining equipments, it is roughly 1.5x of a diesel. When you go to a tractor trailer, it can go as high as 4x. So, but on the TCO basis, if you take like-to-like TCO, so you depreciate the asset over a period of 5 years or 6 years. Nowadays, diesel trucks are also extremely reliable, so you can depreciate them over a period of 5 years. On the TCO basis, an electric vehicle will surely be better. It will be at least 15 to 20% better, including the capex that you're investing. It's just that, the industry needs to kind of adopt to it. You still have to work on project basis. You have to go point to point. You can't just take a truck and decide today I will run it towards west and tomorrow I'll run it towards east. That won't be possible because infrastructure is not ready. But viability, of course, is not a question at all. I mean, those who are using it are increasingly adopting to EVs.
But Siddharth, while you spoke of TCO, does that also include the battery replacement which may come in at the end of 5 or 6 years? How does it work really?
So basically, we are depreciating the entire asset over a period of 5 years. Battery replacements, at least from Propel perspective, now I can tell you that our promise to the customer is that your truck will die first, the battery will die later. Okay, so now for example, we have just introduced a 4x2 tractor trailer for the long haul. Our battery warranty in terms of equivalent to kilometers is close to 1.5 million kilometers. 1.5 million kilometers unheard of, I mean, nobody can nobody runs a truck that long. But yes, 1.5 million kilometers, you can't do it in 6 years, right? Uh, Battery replacement is not a major concern right now from the viability perspective, because most of them will cover the battery cost one way or the other. So that is included in the TCO. Including that, I'm telling that the TCO will be better by 15 to 20% when you compare like to like diesel.
Raman, coming from a fleet owner's perspective, how do you see the mix of your fleet in the future? And since you're operating out of Delhi, you would have already have started using CNG as an alternate fuel. Do you plan to enhance this and take this further to probably LNG or EV?
It's all about the infra. Even CNG is a challenge today. For a very long run, maybe you can do it till Bombay, Delhi. EV, definitely you can't do more than 250 kilometers, and a truck needs to at least run 500 kilometers a day to sort of break even. We can't be standing, for 8-10 hours, trying to charge our truck, and maybe I get into a queue to charge my truck, like how you get into a queue at the CNG pumps. If you're in a hurry and you're short on CNG, it's not 100% that you're going to go and get your CNG. It can take you 30 minutes, it can take you 1.5 hours. So these things are still not the most reliable, if the time is concerned. I think, is another 5 to 7 years of waiting to see the entire infrastructure. And where you talk about battery swapping, that's happening, in China, that's happening in Europe. But in India, somebody will run away with your battery. The companies don't trust truckers. There are lots of challenges. Yeah. So I don't think diesel is a very, you can't replace diesel for sure. At least next 7 to 10 years. That's what I think.
I'm sure, diesel will not be replaced at all, but of course, yes, we may see EVs making inroads. And Raman, since you said 250 kilometers, Siddharth, would you like to add on this? Because I guess your trucks have a longer range.
No. So I think, how what he's saying is right in a way. Today, per charge, the truck can give you around 250 kilometers, but that's per charge. And we have technologies now which can charge a truck within 1 hour. It is still not same as filling of a fuel, which happens possibly in 20 minutes. But we have been able to put in a cycle. So today, for example, whatever EVs are operating, and it's not about Propel. In Propel, we are delivering 20 hours of operation in mining by charging the vehicle thrice. So we charge the vehicle once for 1 hour, we run it for 6 to 7 hours, again charge it, again run it for 6 to 7 hours, again charge, again run it for 6 to 7 hours. So we are able to deliver 18, 19, 20 hours of operation, which is equivalent to the best of the best trucks that can do in mining. In transport segment, people are able to do 10,000, 11,000 kilometers a month, but it's with the super fast charging, right? We have recently launched a charger which is called 3C charging. So we can charge the vehicle, and these are like, we are talking of 385 kilowatt battery. It's a huge battery with a 1 megawatt charger in 20 minutes. So now this, fuel filling time versus charging time is also available. But yes, I do agree that you need to have an opportunity to run the truck. It's possible to run an electric truck for more than 10,000 kilometers. In fact, honestly speaking, the customers, whosoever buys an electric truck, they first try to fit it in a 10,000 plus kilometer per month operation. So any customer who's today doing 8,000, 9,000 on diesel and can do 10,000 plus, possibly with efficiency improvement, an EV will be a viable case, 100%.
EV trucks will be successful in a confined operation. In an operation which is within 200 kilometers of your range, a mining operation is excellent. You can have your EVs. A city transport can have EVs because the buses don't run more than 150, 200 kilometers. And then obviously from midnight to about 6 in the morning, when most of the world is sleeping, they get into the charging mode. So confined operations, yes, it's 100% success. It will replace the diesel definitely. Long run, I don't think diesel is replaceable. CNG vehicles are high on maintenance. They don't give the same output, the same power. I'm not very confident on CNG for sure. And the capacity of the CNG, you can't carry too much. If you modify, so now even the OEMs are giving you trucks with double tanks where you can carry 600, 700 liters of diesel. You don't need to waste time to even, fill up. You can buy your diesel in the cheapest of states. I mean, unless the government decides to, make it one price pan India. So there are lots of advantages that diesel has. The driver is happy, he can sell a little bit of the diesel. CNG he can't sell, electricity he can't put it in his house and, run an AC. So, your driver is also happy, you're going to retain him. So there are lots of challenges.
It's a very valid
Sorry, that was on a
point.
light note. I
But,
didn't
but
want
a valid
to,
point.
talk about a community, but this is how, our India operates.
Absolutely. So of course, EV trucks are going to have limited operations. In fact, I was at one of a leading customer's plant in Jamshedpur. You will by now know who. And they have set aside 20% load for EV trucks. Unfortunately, there are no takers for that. And so one of the suggestions that came was that you need to give longer contracts if you want somebody to invest in EV trucks. You can't be having a 1 year contract and ek saal ke baad bolo yaar we don't want it. So longer contracts so that you are invested in that. But there are some operations where EV is a possible option. Coming to Rima, who is more into reefer operations. She's carrying medicines, she's carrying pharmaceutical goods which have to be there on time and cannot be standing on the road. मेरा electrics मेरा charging station नहीं है. I can't be stranded. So Rima, going forward, do you think EVs have a place in your operations?
To be honest, no, because even if it takes for us delivering on time, whether be it export or you have to do import, they are all temperature sensitive products, even domestic, because even if you have to do last mile in that, you can't open. Also, what will the AC work on? If you are looking at 250 kilometers on an average, if the AC consumption will also get electricity, right? So honestly, for our operations, I don't think it will work. EV would not. Yes, when you're talking of e-commerce or local deliveries, it will. If I have to do 2 or 3 deliveries where they're okay for me to open the door and deliver the goods, locally it will help in future unless the kilometers increase.
Absolutely.
And also the time is a constraint for us because it has to be at a particular time. We have to ensure that the goods reach on time.
So when we talk of express deliveries or just in time, this is where you cannot be wasting time and saying कि यार यहाँ पे charger है नहीं है क्यों है. So yes, EVs may be the future, but we gradually have to get there. And one segment which has seen a lot of EVs coming in is the small commercial vehicles. You see your last mile deliveries, you see your bikes, you see EVs a lot. And recently, Aisha ran a EV truck from Kashmir to Kanyakumari in 6 days. So they had no problem finding chargers, finding the infra, everything was spot on. And since Kaushik is a dealer with Aisha as well, Kaushik, do you see customers coming in and saying that, okay, for this particular segment, I would like to look at EV as an option?
So I think if you look at penetration of EV across India, I think the segment where it has been most successful today has been the three-wheeler segment. And three-wheeler and that has to a large extent been driven by e-commerce. You have volume loads, they are not very heavy, and you're able to put a battery in there. That way it is actually not taking off of payload, which are some of the key considerations as far as fleet operators are concerned. That has been a huge benchmark as far as India has been concerned over the last few years. Now the future, when we actually look at it also, when we map the future, we are pretty close to where the Chinese ecosystem is evolving also. And if you look at the Chinese ecosystem today, all their small commercial vehicles have completely transitioned towards EV. When it comes to larger trucks, I think what Raman was saying and what Rima is saying, they continue to be on diesel, and it is taking a longer time for those trucks to transition, despite the fact that there is such an established EV network over there. So my perspective would be, if we want to see the transition in the future, again, it will be small commercial vehicles. We'll see four-wheelers that actually transition into EV first. They take over the last mile. And it won't be the Tata Ace segment where, you're competing with the three-wheelers. It'll probably be the, 3.5 to 5 ton GVW vehicles that are actually transitioning, because now you have additional payload you can actually get on those kind of trucks. So the experiments of manufacturers like Eicher Trucks and Buses and Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors, who are coming in and focusing a lot on the LCV and the INLCV segment, I think that will slowly catch on. And one thing we always have to keep in mind is CV today is where the two-wheeler segment was about 5 to 7 years back. It is evolving. Everybody's trying, experimenting different kind of projects. It will take a little bit of time, but already we are on an exponential curve of growing EV in India.
Friends, with the asset cost going up, as I said, a truck which used to cost 5 lakhs is costing 50 lakhs. I'm not talking about EVs here, I'm talking about pure diesel. Your toll tax has gone up, your taxes have gone up, diesel has become expensive. The only way to make your business profitable is to focus on efficiency, which was not the case back in time. पहले था कि चलो ट्रक निकला, ट्रक पहुंच जाएगा, कब पहुंच रहा है, कहाँ पहुंच रहा है, nobody used to bother. Today, you have to make sure your truck is on the road. Efficiency is the focus. And Raman can add here, Raman, you've been an asset-heavy company for a long time. What's your current fleet, if I may ask?
About 300 trucks. 300. So we have many verticals. So if you take the entire, all the verticals, it's about 800 trucks.
So,
but in the FMCG and the
fair enough.
container trucks, it's about 300
so
trucks.
So when you talk about 800 trucks on the
Yeah.
whole, how do you make sure that these trucks are efficient, and is trucking still a profitable business?
I think trucking is the best business. You make money on day one.
I can see that, and you're very happy there.
You make money on day one. You build a truck which takes about 20 days. On the 21st day, you're already making money. But how do you make money is the challenge. It's not about just buying a truck. It's getting the right driver, it's getting the right contract, it's having the right people, it's having the right technologies that you're using. I would like to add one thing, Girish, that you said, that way back we did not have technology, but way back it was more reliable. Our drivers were reliable. So when a driver said that I will reach on the third day, you could actually, match your watch to your truck, and you could tell your customer that my material will get delivered. So then at that time we had 50 trucks. So today I have 100 trucks is why I need technology, because I don't know my driver that well. So my father would actually sit with our drivers, also have a cup of tea, discuss their families, discuss everything. Today, I don't have the time to discuss with my own wife about my own family. So, so the touch is gone. That time was a different time where the driver was a very respectable sort of, person. Today, with 1.4 billion people, you don't know who you're hiring, because today people don't have a driver and buy a truck. Today you buy a truck and then look for the driver. There's a big difference here. And if your truck is waiting, it's loaded, you don't have a driver, you'll catch anybody and just put him on a truck which he's carrying 2 crores worth of goods for you. So you need technology, you need the GPSs, you need all the other jargon to monitor your fleet.
No, I still remember this incident. This was on Chakla Street, where your office is also there. Bombay Punjab Road Carriers. I still remember the company. I was sitting with his father. A driver came in, साहब मेरे को नौकरी चाहिए. Driving license है? हाँ बाबूजी है. Original है? हाँ बाबूजी है. ये पकड़ चाबी, गाड़ी खड़ी है, दिल्ली ले जा. No questions asked. That was the trust we had. Today, can we imagine doing that? 50 lakh का ट्रक, 2 करोड़ का माल, ये ले चाबी ले जा. So that is how things have actually changed. But coming to you, Reema, with your kind of operations, delays can be horrifying. When you're carrying medicines, you can't afford delays. How do you make sure that your trucks remain on the road all the time?
So honestly, of course, we have contracts with the clients. So of course, they give us enough time to, they have to give us a prior 1 day request when they want the vehicles at what temperature. So of course, we assign a vehicle. It reaches on time. Of course, GPS plays a very important role. Like Ramanji said earlier, there was no GPS, and when I joined, GPS had just come up. And I always say this in every forum that GPS is so expensive, right? And technology comes with a very heavy price. We all transporters here would agree to it. How much of technology and what has to be implemented and what phase you have to implement, that is important. Just because every technology person comes to you and saying, we give this, you don't have to implement that. And it may not even necessarily be what reports you need. Now all OEMs are giving a lot of data, right? So we ensure we have one dedicated person. At the same time, on my phone, I can track where my vehicle is. At the same time, what the temperature in the vehicle is. So tracking is very important. We get alerts immediately. So because we are carrying pharmaceutical, we have to be extremely careful. So immediately when we get an alert, if the temperature has gone down or it's gone up, we immediately call the driver. Also, the driver is very well trained. So Girish, a very interesting thing what we actually do while employing, of course, it's not the phase where हम गाड़ी दे सकते because हम तो pharma में है and we are into AC. But any new recruit will first go with a senior driver. He will go on the same route. He will see what the route is. Of course, we have geofencing, but apart from that, he has to be properly, trained. He will know what a cap command is. Cap command basically tells you what the temperature in the container is for the driver. At the same time, we get alerts at back end because of software availability of technology. So that's how we are extremely careful when it comes to carrying products. So we don't really see a failure.
Kaushik, with so much focus on efficiency these days, as a dealer, how much pressure is there on you to make sure that the truck comes into your workshop and goes out as soon as possible? What efforts are you putting in for that?
I think everybody wants their trucks to be charged in 2 hours, and they want the vehicles to be turned around in the workshops in half an hour. I think that is the expectation today. And, I can't blame them. You're talking about an asset that costs about 50 lakhs. And every day it's off-road. It's actually a loss as far as the operator is concerned. So what the dealers have started investing in is the same way, the fleet operators are having challenges in terms of recruiting drivers. We have challenges in terms of recruiting mechanics. Nobody wants to be a mechanic anymore. The son of a mechanic wants to work in a mall. He doesn't want to come in and work on a very skilled job. So the challenges that we are facing is we need to get these guys skilled, because today it's a very electronic job. It's not a very mechanical job in terms of turning these vehicles around. The second thing that we are also doing is we are investing in a lot of technology that makes the jobs of turning these vehicles around a lot more easier. So even if a mechanic prefers a car workshop versus a truck workshop, so what we have to do is ensure that, removing a tire is a lot more easier. You give them pneumatic tools, you ensure that the tires are actually lifted with pneumatic, removers instead of the hands and so on. So similarly, we have special tools for removing gearboxes, etc. And one thing that has really helped us over the last few years is introduction of telematics and the data that we are able to extract from each of the vehicles and also see on these vehicles when they are on the road is substantially better than what we've been used to. And this is without the advent of AI. Now with AI and the inputs that we can actually use to see what may go wrong in the future, that gives us a lot more efficiency in terms of turning these vehicles out as quickly as possible. So we are still not at half an hour, but the goal is to actually get these vehicles out in at least 6 hours versus what we used to take, which was about 12 hours to 14 hours on an average vehicle.
Thank you so much, Kaushik and Shubhajit. Sorry for keeping you waiting so long. I'm glad you're still awake. Just shows the price of inefficiency, what can happen. No, Shobhajit, there's so much talk about efficiency in the system, and one of the ways of doing is to keep an eye on where your truck or your asset is moving. How is telematics helping in this space?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for that question. And wait.
technology.
And in fact, waiting has really helped me because I can accumulate from the points from everyone and I can relate it to it, right? So, for example, there are two aspects, right? When we look at efficiency, most of the cases, safety goes for a toss. So we need the time, what the time demands is a proper combination of safety and efficiency and proper balance to it. Now, coming back to that particular discussion, historically, it has always been the driver partner's responsibility where we rely on them and their performance is being monitored and assessed based on their performance and safety and efficiency both. But the enterprise fleets in India it is a good change. They have already realized that in order to reach zero incidents and make it a reality, safety has to be a shared responsibility. And same goes for the efficiency as well. And so, being said that, so now though the driver partner is at the forefront, so if we talk about our fleet managers, the driver training, primarily at the back end, all the operational activities, both of these two stakeholders has to be joined, and that's how the tech is responsible to enable them and make their user experience and enable them to make their job easier so that they can focus upon on their core subject. As Mr. Raman also cited, right, the scalability is a big issue. It is easy to monitor when we are talking about 10, 20, 30 fleets. When it comes like 100 or 1,000, just to give an example, let's say that we are talking about advanced telematics, video telematics, when we are capturing multiple feeds from the inside the cabin and assessing it in various ways. On an average, globally, each vehicle produces around 3 to 4 safety incident videos per day, on an average. And if I translate it to 100 vehicles, it becomes 3,000. If I translate it to 1,000, it becomes 30,000. And it is impossible for a single person or two-person team to go through all of that. And if you are not able to assess it, then definitely you cannot control the end outcome, which is nothing but the efficiency and safety, right? So how to do that? That's where the advanced telematics comes into picture. You do not need to go through all of that. The solutions are able to tell you, like, you need to focus upon these are the key incidents that you should be aware of and you should be looking at, not the entire data dump. So the solution is not just dumping the data, rather the insights out of it and what can be done out of it. Same goes for the driver partners as well, right? For example, the driver needs not too many alerts, but accurate alert at the right time. The fleet needs the accurate video, the most severe videos, and whenever they need, not like entire data dump as I mentioned. And coming back to efficiency, again, there are multiple, if you look at the process chain, right, there are multiple aspects which makes it successful. Let it be the installation, let it be the data extraction and what could be the outcome of it. Because as Rima also pointed out, like, they focus on heavily open training. So can we make the training more focused rather than a common training across all the drivers? That again, technology plays a big role over there. Because let's say that there is 1,000 odd fleet, and if I consider shifts into account, then easily it would be 1,200 to 1,300 drivers we are talking about. So we cannot just talk to each of these drivers in the same manner. Rather, we need to identify who are the critical driver who needs your help, who needs your attention, and prepare a customized focus coaching plan for them, coach them accordingly, and so that we can achieve the end goal. That is nothing but reducing your safety incidents. That's how technology is able to help. And in parallel, like probably some of the fleet managers would be already facing, I'm not very sure. One of the thing is the driver impersonation. As you said, the trust deficit, right? You have hired a driver, you have given them the key, but you never know whether the same driver is driving that particular vehicle who is supposed to drive. So that again, where the technology can help you. So it provides both safety, it combines the efficiency, and it assures that your vehicle is safe, your goods is safe, and it is reaching in time. So that is why the technology has become the one throat to choke, where you know that this is the enabler, this is going to help you, and this is the final responsible entity that is going to enable all the stakeholders in a combined manner.
Shobhit, while telematics is something, tracking is there in many trucks these days, but video telematics is still something which is at a nascent stage, I would say. I mean, you don't see many trucks with, video cameras and stuff. How important is video telematics? And can you give us some examples where they've really come to the rescue?
Absolutely. So, and you are right. In fact, if we go by 2023 stats, hardly 2% of the commercial vehicle has been penetrated with video telematics. And there is a reason to it, as I mentioned, that is about usability. People do not use the tech just for the sake of it. There has to be an economical outcome of it. And that is the gap that we are trying to address at Light Matrix as well. Now, coming to your question, that is, sharing some of the examples. So one particular example that comes to mind, because whenever, let's say, there is a camera, the driver became self-aware and they try to oppose these kind of implementation as well because they do not want to be monitored. But in one particular case, in Canada, what happened was one particular driver was driving at its own speed under the speed limit and so on, and a person on the bike came from the front in the wrong way and there was an accident. The biker admitted his fault and they parted and they go on their own ways. However, there was a camera monitoring those situations and the police, they caught hold of that particular situation, and after 2 blocks down the line, they caught hold of the car driver, mentioning that it is a hit and run case. And he was lucky enough to have a solution like that and extract the same thing then and there on the cell phone and showcase it to the authorities that it is not my fault. So this is again adding to multiple other aspects where video telematics is coming to help both fleets and the driver who are on the road.
And I'll share one very interesting aspect with you, which I think video telematics, you guys also need to, throw this further. I'll name the company also, BLR Logistics, who have about 800,000 trucks and about 300-400 of them are now having video cameras. What they have told me is that the trucks with video cameras now have lesser corruption cases compared to the non-video cameras. So when the police comes asking for 100, 200, 500 rupees, the moment they see a camera, they back off. And this is actually a proven statistic. So आपका road accident जो बचेगा, आपका driver efficient होगा, वो सारा कुछ है, साथ में आपका corruption कम हो जाएगा. This is also a proven fact. Shubhajit, one more question to you. Large fleet owners who've got, let's say, about 200, 500,000 trucks, they may go in for, these solutions. What about the smaller guys? How cost effective is it for them, and do they also can get benefits out of this? Let's say a 10 truck, 15 truck guy.
Absolutely. So, for example, historically, what we have done a research on this, and we primarily we followed a particular fleet's performance and compare it over a 1 year time frame, right? And what we had observed is a 38% reduction in crashes, 76% reduction in the injuries that happened. So in my opinion, whether it is 15 truck fleet or 100 truck fleet or 1000 truck fleet, even if we are able to save one single accident, as you mentioned that each truckload is worth of crores. Imagine if a truck is filled with iPhone or some important medicinal goods, which is again high value in nature. If you are able to save that, then you are not only saving the driver's life, the passengers or the vulnerable road users, their life, but also you are ensuring your valuable goods are reaching in time. So a single incident itself, saving that, is worth these kind of investments.
Our pharma business has been very challenging always, and one of the important aspects of your business is the compliance part. Now, going forward, how do you see the compliance part of it, evolving? Do you see it getting more strict? Will it be more stringent? How do you see that going?
I think it's going to become very strict. In fact, every second day, Girish, I can tell you, every time when we get audited, who knew Porsche would be a part of transport industry? Honestly, we are like really transformed from where to where. Of course, like as we carry pharmaceutical, we were ISO certified when I joined. Suddenly, I realized after some time when we used to get audited, the demands started coming. We need to have GDP and CityPat compliant. We had to adapt to it. So I think they are just going to get more and more strong. They're going to get more and more stricter when the audits happen, because when you're carrying high value products and especially temperature sensitive, they are you have to be extremely careful. So yes, of course, it's going to get very, very stringent. The compliances and audit is going to get and they actually monitor. So I'll tell you a few things which we have done. they need to calibrate. I mean, you will be able to add, we have to calibrate data loggers and sensors for temperature sensors. And they are not calibrated, they'll give you a red mark that you cannot carry those goods. Even we need to have door sensors. So there's so many demands which clients keep coming up with. Every day is like a new day, and we just have to adapt to it.
And do the customers pay you for all this?
No. No, they don't. We pay our vendors, but customers don't. The demands are way higher.
Now, Raman, what about your kind of business? How do you see the parcel business evolving? Especially with India's economy growing, geographies are having more spending power. Do you see the part load business actually flourishing further?
With 1.4 billion people, B2C, it will definitely flourish. There is no business in India will ever go down. That's for sure. Yeah. Only you have to sort of up your game, is what it is. The challenges that we face with our parcel businesses. So about 10 years ago, about 15 years ago, can you switch off those lights because they're blinking?
Yeah, I think they're trying. They're not able to fix it.
Can you switch off those lights? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So about 15 years ago, when Amazon came, a new challenge came, that Amazon was giving you goods within 2 to 3 days or 4 days at your doorstep. So we had to up our game, deliver in time, because everybody is on Amazon ordering goods. So their mindset changes that if a foreign company can give it, why can't an Indian company give it? So anyway, we up our game for 10 years. Then came Blinkit. Then it's 10 minutes of delivery. So everybody is now, expecting goods, your own groceries in 10 minutes. So again, we have to up our game and deliver faster. So people's expectation is obviously going up. Even technology is delivering faster. So you can't stay back. Anybody who says, that I am good is no more good because everybody is becoming better than you. So if you're good, you need to, you're not good enough then.
In fact, a very interesting aspect. So, how trucks actually run. So, e-commerce applications, a truck ideally do 15 to 17,000 kilometers a month. If we talk about regular goods, they do about 8,000, 8,500 a month. And there's a particular brand in e-commerce which go up to 25 to 27,000 kilometers a month. Now, a lot of aspects go into this, and let me get in Kaushik here. Kaushik, how do you actually push for this efficiency? Your trucks are running 15,000, 25,000 a month. How much pressure is there on the dealer when the truck comes to you to get it back on the road as soon as possible?
No, I think there is a lot of pressure. Like I said, I think every day where the vehicle is down, it's actually a loss as far as the operator is concerned. So a few things that are happening there right now is one, we are offering night services in a majority of our workshops. So a lot of the vehicles come in at night when the driver is sleeping. We get the vehicle repaired and it's delivered the next day morning. Another thing that we are also seeing is Sunday service, which wasn't offered earlier. We are offering Sunday service in a majority of our workshops. Predictive maintenance and preventive maintenance is being done a lot more than it used to before. So both the operators and the dealers are using telematics information and trying to get the predictive and preventive maintenance done earlier, which ensures that vehicles are reliable, they're on the road and they're not breaking down. Because every breakdown today comes with a cost, because every contract has a penalty in case you're not able to meet the delivery times. So all those things have changed. Another thing that I see happening more and more is that there are collaborations that are being made between fleet operators and some entity. It could be light metrics for telematics, for example, or working with us on auto spec trying to figure out these parts fail very quickly. Can you actually work out and give us better quality parts? Then you're also working with OEMs to push them on telematics information that's not available today, that can be in a readable format. Because I think while on the one side there is a lot of technology available, there's a lot of data available, it also has to be in a usable format for the fleet operators to digest it and do something with it. That is the current big challenge as far as technology is concerned.
I think it's also about educating, the fleet owners on how you can use the data. That is extremely important.
Actually, there's so much data available now,
Yes.
you don't know what to consume.
Yes. So, like I said, you have to do it in firstly, not like the top management is always going to be using the data. Not everything is going to be used by us. Only few things are going to be the crucial things. So, also when you're giving the right kind of data to the fleet owners, it's easier to adapt. Also, you have to train the downline people because they are the end users who are going to actually be using the telematics. And of course, I just wanted to add something. E-commerce, COVID has just taught everything. All your Blinkits and Zepto and Swiggy all actually became extremely active post-COVID. So yes, the business has only gone up.
Siddharth, coming back,
I have
yes.
a suggestion on this.
Yes, Raman.
Also on the technology part, what is happening that all OEMs have their own platform. They need to work on one platform, like how the mobile companies have one charger now. So wherever you go, you don't need to take a charger, you can just ask somebody for a charger. So what is happening? So let's say if there is oil in your vehicle which is less and it is code, let's say 123, then all OEMs should give code 123. Somebody is giving 123, somebody is giving A12. So if I have vehicles which are 4 different manufacturers, I'm for an oil, whatever problem, I'm reading 4 different messages of 4 different people. So, they need to, one language.
I think this is something we can really take forward seriously.
So I think data integration is what he's trying to press on, that all manufacturers need to work together, come up with one single platform. Also, we were discussing some time back on AdBlue. All OEMs are using different AdBlue, so that becomes a problem. Also, when you have the data, like for me, especially when I work for pharma, AIS 140 has become compulsory, so I'm investing in AIS 140, which is not really reasonable. I have to put my own telematic system because I have to use another device because I have to have temperature sensors. That cannot be integrated in AIS 140. So I'm actually landing up spending much more. Plus I have to integrate it with my ERP system, right? Which I have. So the cost is only going higher.
Siddharth, getting back to EVs, how do you see the battery scenario changing, battery as a service? How do you see that evolving in the coming years?
So it depends on segment to segment, Basically, what are we trying to address? We are trying to address the amount of time taken to refuel. If the same time can be matched for charging, then I think we have solved the equation. There are various ways to do it. Battery as a service, battery swapping, Sir talked about, which is the gadget which is used most batteries. It's mobile phone. If I have to ask you, when was the last time you used a swappable battery mobile phone?
But you always have an add-on.
So, but there was a time when you used to have those batteries, you can remove.
Have multiple batteries,
You can
yes.
remove, you can put, right? You've forgotten about it now. So you really have to think when was the last time. It's because the phones have now become much more than calling and texting. They have actually evolved to almost like a mini computer or even more than that, right? So the more you get into performance orientation, then it's best to have an inbuilt battery. Because battery is like engine. The engine is the heart of the ICE truck. Battery is the heart of the EV truck. So you can just imagine that every day you're removing the heart and replacing it, you're removing the heart and replacing it, and you want to do it for 5 years, 6 years. I think the performance of the truck and the battery goes for a full toss. So battery as a service, it solves one problem in terms of convenience. You can swap it in much lesser time compared to charging, but it kind of builds in a lot of other problems. And I think with the technology going up, very soon you will see that you will be able to. I mean, mobile phones used to take. You talked about, EV के बारे में एक लोगों की सोच थी कि पूरा दिन चलाओ फिर रात में चार्ज करो. But it's not like that anymore. So even in mobile phones, it used to take several hours to charge earlier. Now you can charge in 5 minutes, 6 minutes like that, right? So I think the technology is evolving. It will definitely solve this problem in terms of charging time. And then the swapping will not be a great solution. Or let's say battery as a service. That doesn't really make sense. From financier perspective now, think about it. You're owning a truck. The battery is owned by somebody else. And tomorrow there is a dispute between the service provider for the battery and let's say, the customer like him. And then they decide to part ways, or, the customers give back the truck to financier. Financier क्या करेगा उस truck का? क्योंकि वो चला नहीं सकता. See, today we don't have standardization. Every EV vehicle has a different battery. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आप एक truck ले लिया फिर battery किसी और से ले लिया. It's not like that. There is no standardization today. So from that perspective, I think it's a big risk. You end up becoming a slave because of this battery as a service kind of situation, right? And here we are discussing about, let's have common telematics, let's have common AdBlue, let's have common oils, etc., etc. This is battery, is the heart of the truck. So I think, it solves one problem, but it creates more inherent problem. I would personally recommend that, maybe for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, it could be a good idea. You just go and swap a cassette. But for more expensive and premium assets, it's better to have an inbuilt battery that you can charge.
Friends, we are coming towards the close of this session. And any questions from the audience? We have a couple of minutes for that. Anybody has any question? No questions? Raman, let me ask you one question. I'm very curious about this. Do we have yes, please.
Good morning. So my question is around the operational running cost of the battery vehicles. We generally run our long-haul vehicles, and when we compare the running cost of long-haul vehicles in India and abroad, we see operational cost in India is very, very high. Right? That's because of the grid metrics and the cost of procurement. How do you see this being reduced in the next 3 to 5 years?
You're talking for battery electric vehicles?
Yeah, the charging cost itself, the electricity cost itself, how do you see that being reduced in the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay, so the cost of electricity, of course, is beyond the control of, let's say, a typical transport operator. But what's gaining momentum, for example, big fleets, and we are talking of future fleets here, people are investing in solar, right? So solar today, for example, can be like sir has got 800 vehicles. Tomorrow he decides that out of 800 vehicles, 20% fleet, I want to make electric. And then he's got 160 vehicles. Now, traditionally, the cost of electricity for charging of an EV truck I'm talking about would range anywhere between 8 rupees to 12 rupees, depending upon which state you're operating into, per unit of charging. The same thing if you're able to generate solar, then the cost will come down to possibly around 2 rupees to 2.5 rupees. In fact, you can buy solar energy also. There are a lot of people who are actually developing solar energy and selling. In Tamil Nadu, for example, where I come from, there are people who are selling solar energy at much cheaper cost. So you can bring down the energy cost significantly. What is happening on the other side is in terms of operating cost for EV is anyway lower. So I was just mentioning in the opening comments that if you're spending 1,000 on the diesel, you will not be spending more than 350 on electric vehicle in terms of the energy cost. That energy cost can also be brought down. Now this 350 is considering 10 rupees of unit. If you make it 5 rupees, this 350 will become 175. So it's like that. But the current solution is to work with solar. So you have a solar installation or you buy solar energy and then you use it for charging your EVs.
Okay, okay, we have a question there. Yes, Ram. Sorry.
Hi, thanks for the spirited discussion. This question is for Siddharth. So we work with one of India's largest CV OEMs, and they have a 5-ton truck. They build both in the diesel and the EV variant, right? So operational expenses, you gave the breakdown, right? Like if it's solar, everything, compared to diesel, unit economics really works out. But what we have seen in that is the upfront cost for the same diesel versus EV variant, it's quite a difference, right? So I'm sure that differential will keep coming down. But how are you navigating this with your end users today?
How we are navigating the reduction in the upfront cost, is it?
Yeah, or like how are you? So then the value proposition is okay. Over a period of time, this will pay out for you, but upfront they will have to fork out maybe 30-40% more.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a hard sell right now. So how's that?
No, it will come down. It will come down. It started with 2x, for example, in cars. And I think now it's almost like less than 1.5x, and there is a plan to go to parity.
Right.
Now, parity means I don't know if the electric vehicle cost will come down or diesel vehicle cost will go up. Okay. But whichever way. On the truck side, right now, on the on-road trucks, particularly tractor trailers, for example, it's almost like 3x to 4x. And I think it will eventually come down. See, 40% of the electric truck cost is coming from battery. And I think over a period of time, as the technology will mature, the scale will go up, the battery prices are expected to come down, for sure. So it will definitely come down. What will happen possibly from a consumer perspective, like look at your mobile phones, right? I mean, iPhone 15, 16, 17, 18, वो सस्ता तो कभी होता ही नहीं है. I don't think any of these generation products have ever become cheaper. What happens is you get more performance. So today, for example, on the on-road heavy-duty trucks, you have batteries which are ranging from 250 kilowatt, going up to highest around 420 kilowatt, right? But these trucks are largely giving a range of anywhere between 150 kilometers to 250 kilometers, as what Sir also mentioned about. If you really want to use the benefit of electromobility in the long haul, you may need a 550 kilowatt motor. Battery. You may need a 600 kilowatt battery. Those kind of batteries are now being developed and they are available. So while the battery cost may come down, the consumers may want a longer range. So it will eventually you scale up the battery size, But I am very sure that the prices of electric vehicles over a period of next decade will come down to close to 1.5, 1.8x. I don't see it coming to 1x. Maybe the diesel prices will also inch up, so gap thoda kam ho jayega.
I think Siddharth already answered the last question. So Shubhajit's closing comments from you. How do you see the telematics, especially the camera telematics, video telematics going in the year 2030? What is the future like?
So the future, as everyone has pointed out, it is more towards the increasing the usability of the solution. In fact, that has been our objective as well. And so at the end of the day, the user experience and the UI should talk the same language. You cannot have, one thing on the other hand and the users wanting something else. So that is, we are going to see both of these things merging. And another aspect that we are also seeing, and it has been partly due to the government push, the change in the regulation, and partly due to the, because the customers have started realizing the value out of it. So the same way the telematics world moved from aftermarket to OEM, gradually we are seeing that shift from video telematics angle as well. So it started from aftermarket, and it is gradually all the vehicles that will be rolled out, even in the commercial vehicle segment I'm talking about, that will be rolled out of the factory, it will have a fitted video telematics, right?
And do you think with youngsters coming into business, selling for you is much more easier because selling to Raman's dad or Reema's dad would have been a tough task?
So, you are partially and in some way right.
I'm right.
But yes, absolutely. Because the world is changing, as Raman also pointed out, like you can hand over the key to anyone else, like anyone, like you also said, like anyone with a DL can drive, and that thing is changing with scalability.
Now, Raman, what about you? What is the future like? Raman, do you see any fleet owner in India going to 10,000 trucks? We stop at 1,500, 2,000. Do you see that?
Well, I think VRL also has stopped at about 4,000.
5,000, yes.
5,000. And I'm sure they're also facing enough challenges. I don't think, numbers is going to be the game. I think efficiency is going to be the game. You can have a fleet of 400, 500, 200. If you have a 10%, ratio where your trucks are without drivers, it's no use. You just, increasing the top line of manufacturers and buying the trucks and, putting them in your yard, and when you don't have a driver. So we all have to come to a point where we have a driver and we train the driver and we buy a truck then. It cannot be the other way around, because driver is the key. He is about 50 to 60% success. A good driver is about 50 to 60% ensuring success of your truck. And the rest 50 is you, your attitude, your telematics, your everything else. So, but we're not talking about the driver today. How important the driver is. We've left that topic.
Actually, I mean that's a lapse on my part. When we're talking about future of fleets, we are so focused on tech that we forgot the drivers. Can you a quick fix?
Driver is the key. You have to take care of your driver like he is your brother, like he is your child. I cannot say somebody who I have to take a driver who's like my father, because I'm sure he would have retired by now. So driver is the key. You have to train your driver. You have to take care of his medical needs. You have to ensure that he and his family get enough food on the table. His children get the right education. Then he will have loyalty towards your company. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to fill my pocket and to hell with him. It's not to hell with him. You're going to hell for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, I think it's time that we don't call them drivers and we call them sarthis. They are sarthis, one.
Yes.
And also,
We have changed.
Yeah.
We call our drivers now captains.
Yeah. So,
He's the captain of your ship. He's the captain of your plane.
and
He decides.
and as fleet owners, I'm sure all of us do a lot for our drivers, but I think at a macro level, that needs to be addressed, right? So as an industry, we are sitting here and talking, but would drivers be here talking? I don't really know. So in terms of, they need to be recognized and awarded enough to be there. People have to be motivated. Like if you ask a driver's kid, would he want to be a driver? And the father will say, nahi, yahan pe nahi ghusna hai. Not that they're not making money, they're making decent amount of money. Honestly, they would be making more than a graduate. Because, I was a part of an award, Smart Driver Awards, and we were few of us were interviewing drivers, and we were amazed to, of course, you all know how much we pay our sarthis, but we were amazed to know how much they make. They make good amount of money. And they are extremely also very social media savvy. They also have avenues to make other than only driving. So I think recognition is something which they need to be applauded all the time. So I think that is extremely important.
Kaushik, yes, Raman.
One more thing about the driver. So Rima, you said that they make good amount of money, but any amount of money is less because he is on a 24-hour duty. Can you imagine anybody doing a 24-hour duty? So I just think that, if he has a good life, he needs to have a balance. Every 6 months, we need to ensure that our driver goes home. He needs to spend time with his family, his wife. He has biological needs. He needs to be there for them. If we need to be there for our kids, our parents, for everybody, he needs to be there. That's one thing I think all of us, like we have a CSR. Yes, we are not in the 500 crore bracket. At least I'm not to have a CSR. But I would like to, put a certain amount of my sort of resources into, which we already are doing, into a CSR kind of a program. But that CSR is not for outside. If you do it within your own company, there's enough CSR to do here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Well,
I guess
friends,
that's mine.
I've been getting the eyeballs. We are out of time now. So let me quickly sum this up. If you're talking of the future, okay, a quick point in a minute. Okay, we'll take it during the networking thing, please. Okay, friends, if you're talking about 20, 30 year, the focus is very clear. Electric trucks, LNG trucks will happen, the infrastructure will have to be in place, but the most important thing is going to be your efficiency and productivity. These trucks have to run. You cannot be doing at 8,500 kilometers. You have to push the productivity up, and that will require alignment with your customers also. आज हमको सब पता है डिटेंशन होता है, ट्रक 2 दिन 3 दिन रुकते हैं. So there has to be all round collaboration. The government has to make sure the checkposts are off. You're not stopped on the roads. Your customers get your truck in and out in quick time. Driver shortage, yes, is an issue, but my observation is it is on the way down now. I spoke to a lot of transporters. They said, yes, during festivities, there is a shortage, but overall it's taken care of. So on that note, I'm sure logistics is here to stay. The future is very, very bright. And I'll hand it over to the MC to take it forward, please. Thank you very much. You guys have been a wonderful audience. And thank you to my panelists, please. Thank you.
Thank you.